InYourHeadOnline.com. That's the place where the horsemen hang out with only the best. 1-inch biceps, Barbie, and Jack, they've got the answers. They've got the interviews. This is the place to be for wrestling news.
All right, we're back. We welcome Tully Blanchard back to In Your Head. Welcome to the show.
Well, it's great to be here with you guys. And how about them 1-inch biceps, baby?
I'm here. I'm enjoying it.
That's a shooting it.
I understand.
Right. Well, I think it's like if you call someone like 7 feet tall, if you call him shorty, it's kind of like an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you see him, he's got like 24 inch. He's got 24 inch guns going.
24. I'm sorry.
But let everybody know.
As soon as they get to be 24, they call them pythons.
Ah, that's right. He's got the pythons going.
It's upgraded.
Maybe they're 24 inches long.
No, he's got pretty short arms. But
It's been a couple of years since It's been a couple of years since the last time we spoke to you. What have you been up to?
Well, I have been traveling all over the country, going in and out of prisons, mostly. I've been able to do a couple of autograph Legends things, but not near as many as I did last year. Maybe I've dropped out of Legend status, and nobody wants me to come and sign autographs anymore. But I'm staying very, very busy traveling and speaking in the prisons.
Right. That's what everybody know. You're speaking in the prisons. You weren't just going in and out of prisons for... you weren't getting in trouble or anything.
Oh, no. No. They let me out.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
We should get a couple callers here, so let's get them quick. You got Brian on the line?
Yeah, hi. Is this Tully?
Yeah, we got him on there.
Yes.
Oh, hi. Yeah, one thing it's a pleasure to talk to you. One of the things I wanted to let you know is I know you guys, you and Arn wrestled against the Road Warriors. Animal's son, I live in Ohio, is actually a very big standout football player here. I didn't know if you were aware of that or not.
Yeah, the star linebacker.
Yeah, at Ohio State. Oh. Yeah, it's. I don't know if you ever seen him play, but he's pretty awesome. My main question for you was that I know that when you were in the WWF, you guys used that spike pile driver as a finishing. But sometimes you have to do it when the ref wasn't looking. I mean, technically, was that move legal or not? Because I've seen you guys use it in matches in front of the ref, and it was fine. But there were other times when you had to do it. I mean, what was the actual standing? I mean, I know they can't do the move nowadays because of neck injuries and all, but was it technically legal, so to speak, or
it was technically not legal. That's why we always used the referee and it's a WrestleMania you used him out of position. Do what?
When you did it at WrestleMania 5, I mean, I thought you guys did it in front of the ref and there was no problem, or did you have to get a distraction for that?
No, we did that. We did that out of, if I remember WrestleMania 5, vaguely, they did a thing where Tito Santana turned on Martel turned on him, and it was some kind of a glitch there, and the referee wasn't supposed to see it, but he may have.
So technically, the move's not allowed, is basically. Because, I mean, it looks pretty dangerous.
It is not allowed. But we were trying to come up with something that was a brain buster.
Right.
That makes sense.
And you couldn't really do a double brain buster.
Yeah.
I always thought that was one of my favorite finishers, and they don't do the pile drivers anymore in WWE, but even after that, I don't think anyone ever did that move.
Well, nobody's ever used a slingshot suplex that I know of.
Yeah, you see it, very rarely, and when they do it, it's usually pretty bad.
Well, Van Hammer did, and it was pretty bad, so yours was way better. One other question I just have for you real quick. One other question I just have for you real quick was when in SummerSlam when you guys wrestled the Hart Foundation, why did they specifically say it was a non-title match if you guys won anyway? I mean, do you know what the specific point was for specifically saying that it was a non-title match?
No, don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it was a heck of a match. I got to compliment you on that, but that was a really good match you guys had with them.
Well, thank you very much. It was Jim the Anvil and Brett were certainly great performers, and I'm glad that Arn and I had the opportunity to do that.
Thanks for calling in, Brian.
Oh, no problem. Thanks, Tully. I appreciate it.
All right, we also got another caller here. Who is this?
Hey, it's Jason.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, you got a question for Tully?
Yeah, I do. First off, I want to say it's an honor talking to you, Mr. Blanchard. I grew up with you as a horseman. And my question...
Well, thank you, Jason.
Oh, no problem. My question actually pertains to Southwest because over the years I've gotten to see Southwest's footage and actually fall in love with the promotion as a whole. Do you have any stories from that time with when you guys went on to the USA Network and when things were really big for the promotion?
Right.
Do you happen to have any stories from that time, what it was like, being in Southwest at that time period?
Well, it was a little bit more being in Southwest. I owned it. My dad and I owned Southwest Championship Wrestling. And unfortunately, we didn't have enough wisdom, foresight to realize that, we couldn't utilize the cable television at the time, and we got behind paying our bill, and it cost us $7,000 a week to be on there, and we were a smaller promotion, and we couldn't afford to do it, and that's when Vince, and I don't know what he did or how he did it, but he came in and took our TV time, and been on USA ever since. So I do know one time that I got called on the carpet because I wanted to prove to the station that we were viable programming. So I put a small little blurb on the TV show on the TV show and used the network's phone number. I believe their headquarters were in New Jersey. And I said, dream match, call this number and tell us the match you want to see. And the phone lines were so inundated they couldn't conduct business on Monday, and they weren't very happy with me.
Speaking of your dad, he's also going to be at the Legends Fan Fest. It's coming out August 10th through the 12th. Everybody wants to check that out. It's NWALegends.com. It's going to be Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Hilton University Place Hotel. Is that going to be?
Yeah, it's. Go ahead.
No, you go on.
No, it's going to be a special time. My dad's only been able to come to one other autograph thing with me, where he was signing autographs and stuff. I mean, his career in promotion and wrestling was about 35 or 40 years, where mine was 13 years. Mm-hmm. So, he paved the way so that guys like me could have a job, and we paved the way for the guys now to get rich.
Right. Is that special that your dad's going to be there? What they're saying is going to be your final match? It's got a very good possibility. I'm 53 years old. My back hurts a little bit, and it is. What do I want wrestling fans to remember of me? The fact that I was a great performer at one time, but now I'm trying to hang on to something or whatever. It's going to be fun to wrestle Dustin because I had so many great matches with his dad, and I wrestled him one time where he took his dad's place last year, and it was very, very, good. And it was a big, great crowd in a little town in Florida, and I enjoy the stuff. I don't enjoy hurting when it's over with. Right.
And so, I got to weigh all that, but it'll probably be the last time I wrestle. I'm not going to put that down in ink, but it probably will be. And but I hope to get to go to some autograph sessions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it'll be neat and special that my dad's going to be there anyway. So.
Yeah, and plus it's in Charlotte, it's NWA Legends Fan Fest, and you're going to be wrestling at Rhodes, and you're going to have J.J. Dillon and Baby Doll in your corner. So there's a lot of, it'll be like a special match.
There's a lot of special stuff.
Right. you know, I mean, that's you know, having Baby Doll and JJ there, and you know, I mean, those were huge parts of my career, and it's going to be exciting. I hope that Baby Doll and JJ can get along, but you know, other than that, it's going to be fun, and as long as I don't get hurt. You know, a little sore is okay. Hurt is not good at 53.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Jason, did you have anything else?
Yeah. I wanted to ask Tully, with all the rumors going around with Flair retiring as well, and him possibly going into the Hall of Fame, would you want to see all the Horsemen, the original four, and Barry Windham and JJ, go into the Hall of Fame at the same time?
You know, I think that would be great. You know, I don't know that they would do that. I actually in the airport in Houston, Texas this afternoon, I just flew in back to Dallas, and I had a guy talk to me about the Hall of Fame and that kind of stuff, and you know, Flair's career was so great that, you know, I don't know if you wanted to take away from that induction. You know, I don't know how they do the induction part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they do like football, you know, 5 a year, or baseball, they have a limit on who goes in and stuff like that. So, you know, if it's just a sporadic deal, you wouldn't want to take away from Flair's spotlight. Does that make sense? I mean, I've got enough respect for Flair and his career that you want to see him get all the juice. I would like to see, I mean, I think the Four Horsemen as a whole, you know, the original ones, the ones that sold out all the buildings, not the ones that tried to get the ratings back, I'm a little bit partial, aren't I?
Right. But I think you could definitely induct them twice. You know, induct them as Ric Flair, and then also induct the Four Horsemen as their own like entity into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if you look at home run hitters in baseball, okay, Babe Ruth is not the only one in the Hall of Fame. Hank Aaron is not the only one in the Hall of Fame. And when you look at tag teams, I mean, Arn and I stood by ourselves as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And certainly will go down that way. You know, just in that way, you know, Arn and I would deserve to be in at some level anyway. But the Four Horsemen thing was so great, you know, it deserves to stand on its own also.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Sometimes they'll induct, you know, a band, and then the same people will be inducted if they had a solo career or in another band.
Yeah. So, you know, there's, you know, Flair was a great world champion, and but, you know, I mean, Arn and I were the very first tag team ever to be first world champions in both NWA and then WWE. So, you know, there's something to be said for that. There's only been 2 of them ever.
What were you saying, Barbie?
Well, you mentioned Ric Flair having such an incredible career. Do you think that was the reason why the DVD they put out last year was Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen?
Well, I think that they were trying to play on the fact, see, because the Horseman thing ended up as Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. That's what it was when they were trying to revive all the ratings. And the one thing that I told the people that interviewed me about the video, there's 2 things that I was a little disappointed with. One was the fact that they didn't exclude. They talked about my drug test when I failed the drug test in 1989, but they didn't talk about how the power of God touched my heart and touched my life and changed my entire life, which is why I didn't go back to wrestling, you know, at the peak of my career. They left that part out, which I was disappointed in. And then the other thing was in the second hour of the first DVD, when they started talking about the WCW days and the Four Horsemen, and when they were trying to gain that, the thing that they left out was WCW was not drawing any money, and they kept trying to revive the Four Horsemen to start selling out buildings again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They left that conveniently out. And that's why they offered Arn and I a big contract to leave the WWF and come to WCW. And that's when all that stuff, the drug test, and they reneged on the deal, and the stuff we talked about last time that went on, you know. And so anyway.
Did you have any problem with it?
I hope that made sense.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, when it came out, when they first put out the cover and stuff, I didn't think it was because when the Four Horsemen started, it wasn't Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. It wasn't like a group with Ric Flair. He was one of the Four Horsemen. It was the whole group.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, and that was the strength of it, and that's the way it should stand. But at the end, and talking about the video, they will certainly try to use his, because he's still on the TV show,
right?
Yeah, and that kind of stuff, and they tried to make it that way, but they put the best group of the Horsemen on there.
Yeah, definitely.
On the cover, so.
Was there any talks to have you guys do a match for WWE?
Any
recently.
talks?
Yeah, when they put out the DVD, maybe to have you guys have a match. For on a pay-per-view or anything.
Nobody's ever talked to me about that.
Right. I know there was a rumor once that Triple H wanted to do a War Games where it would be the original Four Horsemen versus Evolution.
Well, they haven't called.
Right. Well, you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
Well, I don't know if they're still mad at me for last October, but.
We get another caller. Anyway. Oh, sorry. We get a caller here. Who is this?
Wesley.
Oh, you're on there with Tully. You got a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Tully. You were talking about the Hall of Fame. When they do that, they put out usually a DVD, and they have kind of the best of matches. What does he think would be his match that he'd want to be included, or what he kind of think is his defining match in his career?
Defining matches in my career?
Right, he's saying that if they put you in the Hall of Fame, usually when they put out the DVD, they'll have the best of matches. What matches would you choose from your career to be on that DVD?
Oh gosh, you'd have to. There were bukus of them. Just I was just talking to my son on the phone, and he was watching some old stuff on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Some videos, and he said, "Well, do you remember a guy named Ronnie Garvin?" Ronnie Garvin and I had some absolutely phenomenal tape fist matches.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can remember one time he and I did the entire TV show, setting up one of the big Thanksgiving shows for us, and that was a great match. Then there's a couple of matches with Dusty Rhodes where Dusty and I went 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. That were great matches. You certainly got to put the cage match with the I Quit match with Magnum TA in there as one of the great matches. You've got to put Arn and I went a 60-minute Broadway with Rock and Roll Express in a cage in Greensboro Coliseum in front of 18,000 people. My gosh, that was just a monster match.
Yeah, I actually lived in Greensboro. I was at that match.
Were you?
Yeah, I live in North Carolina. I was actually there at that match.
There's a number of those matches that were just absolutely outstanding, and so and then you look at some of those matches in 1984 that I had with Ricky Steamboat, building up to Starrcade. God, we went 20 minutes time limit. We went 30 minutes. We went 45 minutes. We went 50 minutes, and then came to Starrcade. We wrestled and some of those matches were just unbelievably good. So I mean, I've got a lot of stuff that I would call as landmark matches. I don't know that I've got any one that I said, that's the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Magnum TA I Quit match, that's been on a lot of DVDs already.
Right.
The match that set that whole angle up was, when Baby Doll was coming back from her 30 days with Dusty and all that kind of stuff, and dressed up like a policewoman and came down and brought me the quarters. That was a great match, and that was a great ending. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you gotta throw in there.
Mm-hmm. Did you have anything else, Wesley?
No, man, that was it. I love the show, and I just wanted to say, it was a pleasure talking to Tully, and I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, thank you for being a fan.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. I'll be in Charlotte for the Fan Fest also.
Excellent.
Super.
Let everybody know about the Charlotte Fan Fest, NWA Legends Fan Fest. That's at NWALegends.com.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be August 10th to the 12th.
What's like the...
You mentioned a Broadway in a cage with the Rock and Roll Express. Is it difficult to do such a long match in a cage? Because outside of a cage, you can take a powder to the outside from time to time, but in a cage, it's basically full-on non-stop.
Absolutely. And, that was one of those ones going, you sit in the dressing room going, what in the world are you going to do for 60 minutes? You only have so much blood, and you can only have so much stuff, and all of a sudden, it quits meaning anything,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was something, and it just a tribute to how good Robert and Ricky were. And then, because I think that we did it, we went 60 minutes, and it was for the World Championships too, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you prefer wrestling guys like that were, your size were a little smaller, or do you think you had better matches with like the bigger guys?
Oh, and I don't want to just bang the drum, but I mean, you got to work to your opponent.
Right.
I mean, and that's where Arn and I had the capabilities. We could do whatever was necessary. I mean, we made the Road Warriors look strong and mighty, and still had a good match with them.
Mm-hmm.
And without killing ourselves. And then you go out there with Robert and Ricky, where you can like do some more finesse stuff and a little more entertaining stuff, and have just a great match. And then we could wrestle with Dusty and a partner, and have a great match with that, because our job was to make people scream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you had to cater to the strong points of who your opponents were. Make people scream.
Right.
And that's the one thing that the people today may have lost. The wrestling talent may not have that same perspective of what the object of going to the ring is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you make people scream, then they go home and they don't forget you, and that's what makes you a star, because they'll come back.
I think that's why you guys were so good, because you could work with any team. If you had to carry a team, you could do it. If it was a team like the Rock and Roll Express, where you guys were both great workers, you could have a great match with those guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We get another caller here. Who is this?
Yeah, it's John.
Hey John, you're on there with Tully Blanchard. Do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I'm an old friend of Tully's from Charlotte. I just wanted to wish him luck this weekend. It's been about 15 or 20 years since I spoke to him. You may remember him. I used to work for him during the summer.
John, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing out there in Dallas?
Today I'm dodging thunderbolts.
I got you.
Well, holler at me when I'm going to be in town this weekend, and then at the wrestle thing.
I don't live up there anymore. I live way down in Florida, so maybe one day we get together. And I wish.
Okay. What part of Florida?
I'm down in South Florida, there towards the Miami area.
Okay.
So I hope your dad's
Well,
doing
it's great
well.
to hear your voice.
Yeah, I'm glad everything's going good for you. And hopefully you won't get hurt, as you said, this weekend, but I'm sure you won't.
Yeah, we don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get hurt back in the day, and I don't want to get hurt now.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't. All right. Well, I just wanted to call and say hello. It's been many years, and hope one day we get together.
I hope so, too.
Speaking, thanks for calling in.
Okay.
Speaking of not getting hurt, are you glad you're not wrestling like the Road Warriors anymore?
The Road Warriors had a tendency to be a little bit brutal at times.
Right.
You know, if Animal got too big of screams, then Hawk wanted to beat you up. And if Hawk got too big of screams, then Animal wanted to beat you up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you had to be very selective in what you were doing. So.
Right. Just let everybody know if there's someone keeps trying to call in with a blocked number. We can't take that into the show. So if you either call in with an unblocked number or try a different telephone, and the number is 508-644-8503. Both you and Dustin grew up in wrestling. Do you think it was harder for you guys? Because people would probably think it's easy. You guys got a job in wrestling, but you'd have a lot to live up to.
Well, little apples and oranges in that case, because my dad was a promoter.
Right.
Okay, and well, there again, it could be apples and apples because Dustin's dad was a booker.
Right. I just meant more like people, other wrestlers might think, it's easy for you guys to get a job in wrestling because your dad's worked in wrestling. So maybe
it might be, but that was one of the things that drove me to be good, because I never wanted anybody to speak of me like they did about other promoters' kids that couldn't perform. Mm-hmm. And they talked about, this guy's kid did this, and this guy's kid did this, and he didn't this, and he was in the main event and didn't deserve to be. And see, the thing that I really never wanted to hear was the fact that I didn't deserve to be in the main event. And when I was in the main event. Mm-hmm. And when I got to where I could perform, I mean, you think about the greatest part of my career was not working for my dad. It was working for the Crockett's and Dusty Rhodes and then Vince McMahon. So, I guess my drive to excellence and perfection paid off.
Mm. Did any of the any of the baby faces ever get mad? Like if there was a lot of Four Horsemen fans in the crowd?
No, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Because the baby faces all looked so good when they wrestled us. I mean and then they made a lot of money when they were wrestling us too. I don't know how they could get mad.
Right. It was me about if we went to a break real quick.
Oh, sorry.
We came back.
That's up to you guys.
Yeah, we'll take a break real fast, and we'll be right back with Tully Blanchard.
This is Eric Bischoff. Controversy creates cash. You know what else? You're listening to In Your Head.
All right, we're back once again with Tully Blanchard. Sorry about the little break.
Not a problem.
We got a caller on the line. Who is this?
Hi, Tully. It's Baby Doll.
Is that a voice from the past?
I think so. I hope so. How are you?
Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Can you get along with JJ in the corner?
Can I, or do I have to?
Well, can you before you have to?
Okay, then I can. Just for you, I will.
Okay. That is so kind.
Is this the first time?
I'll do anything for you.
To seeing you.
You know I'll do anything for you.
Is this the first time you'll have them both? Hello.
Hello.
Is this the first time you'll have them both in your corner, J.J. Dillon and Baby Doll?
Oh yeah. Never before have we done both of them in my corner. Mm-hmm.
We had one time in Greensboro where you guys had to come down and I took the rubber back, but I didn't actually stay out at ringside. So yeah, this is
that right?
Time. Uh-huh.
She's got a much better memory than I do.
Fewer shots to the head.
It was you and Arn, and then JJ and I were going to go out there, and I went out there to figure out what we were going to do.
Oh, somebody's got the radio on. Kick him.
Oh, yes. The other caller called in. You'll have to call back in and turn off your radio.
Okay.
No, not you, baby doll.
I know.
Oh, okay.
So, Tully, are you ready for next week?
I'm going to be. I got to go lay in a tanning bed a little bit. I was just looking at myself in shorts. I need to get this pasty look off my legs.
Okay.
So I need to go tan.
Yep, everybody knows it's going to be a NWA Legends Fan Fest, NWALegends.com. You're going to see both Baby Doll and Tully Blanchard and a lot of other people. Are you aware that this might be his last match?
Yes, I knew that. That's what makes it extra special.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't miss this for nothing.
Well, it's it was when you talk about male and a female valet thing. I don't think there is anything that put it on the map like Baby Doll.
Mm-hmm.
When we started the Perfect 10 contest at the end of 1984, and I walked out in February into Spartanburg on television and said, "This is the world's perfect woman, the Perfect 10," it transformed that thing, guy with a valet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that first year, Tammy Faye Baker just passed away, but Nicola got invited to go out to their shows, and, I mean, they had nothing to do, but, I mean, she used to go to the luncheons and all that kind of stuff around Charlotte. It was the biggest thing since sliced bread there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, wasn't it, Tully?
Yeah.
What do you think just made it so special? Do you think there was just the chemistry between you two?
Well, there was a lot of things. It was the chemistry, but the biggest thing is we made it stay in perspective. Okay? And the reason I say that is you could never, it was absolutely, I put my foot down and I said, nobody can touch Nicola. And so we didn't go out there and get a bunch of cheap reaction because we had guys slapping her or, touching her or shoving her or grabbing her clothes and stuff like that, because all that diminishes her being there.
Mm-hmm.
And so by keeping her special and untouchable, it made it put her on a pedestal, and it made it much more a bigger deal for whenever anything ever did happen, which I think Dusty's the only guy that ever slapped her. So,
I think you were.
I
don't remember Dusty. I don't remember Dusty slapping me. You did.
I think
but I don't remember.
No,
I thought
Dusty slapped you in the ring when I punched that guy and got sued.
But I remember Dusty did it
because I had
because
to come from the interview set and make it to the ring by the end of the show, and I had like 30 seconds to run from the cafeteria in that East Rowan High School gym cafeteria to the gym, and the guy jumped on my back as I came through the gym door, and he punched me. He jumped on my back, and I picked him up. I slapped him or punched him or something. I know it cost me a lot of money, but I made it to the ring just as the TV show was going off the air. So.
Yeah, I remember that because Dusty was mad, I think, at Tully for making him. He kind of blamed Tully for making him hit a woman, I believe.
That's crazy.
Whatever it did, it sold out, so it worked.
Right.
So listen, guys, I've got to go. I've got to say bye to y'all.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in. Sorry, I had problems getting.
See you next week.
I'll be there. I'll remember your road.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
We're going to take this caller here. He's been calling in a bunch of times. Caller, who are you?
This is Carol from Little River, South Carolina.
Okay. You got a question for Tully?
Yes, I do. Tully Blanchard, I met you in Spartanburg on October at Harvest Baptist Church, and my name was Carol, and I sort of talked to you, and I'm going to the Fan Fest this coming weekend,
and can you autograph my Four Horsemen DVD?
Sure. That's what I'm there to do. I'm going to be there on Sunday, autographing stuff. So.
Yeah. If
Okay. Well, I'm related to Jackie Crockett. He married my cousin Ruthie Crockett. And I'm related to the Crockett family, and I'm going to be there. They're going to have like a dinner thing and everything on Friday night, and they're going to.
I'm not going to be there until late Saturday Eve. I'm going to make it just in time to wrestle. My flight lands at 8:30, and then I'm going to wrestle on Saturday night and then be there on Sunday.
Are you trying to get a free ticket? Mention that you're related to the Crockett's.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I just love wrestling to death. I've got on my walls that I went to my first pay-per-view in WCW in '97, and I've got pictures of Ric Flair. I've got pictures of all the old wrestlers, and I can't wait for this Fan Fest. And it's my first time to get to go to a NWA Legend Fan Fest. And I cannot wait because I can't wait to get to meet you. I can't wait to get to meet Ole Anderson and Arn Anderson. And if you only knew the dream that I had, because that's the only thing I wanted to do when I grew up, to be a professional wrestler. But, I mean, you can even ask Jackie Crockett. He understands what I go through. It's just, when I watched you and the Four Horsemen back in the glory days, and that's what it's called, the glory days. When I watched you and the Four Horsemen, me and my friend Craig and my friend Pat and Mark, we sort of copied y'all. We sort of really copied y'all because we always partied together. We done everything in Myrtle Beach together because I'm close to Myrtle Beach, and we go down to the boulevard and watch all the girls go by and just have a good time, you know. But we all love wrestling, and I
look forward to meeting you there.
Yeah. Yeah, you go to NWALegends.com and you find out how to get your tickets, and you can get autographs from all the legends that's going to be there. And you can get there's going to be photo ops and matches, so it's going to be a good time.
I can't wait.
So thanks for calling in. We'll actually see you there too, because we'll be there.
Okay, all right, and I will see you there, Tully.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what he's talking about was the Hall of Heroes dinner banquet's going to be a Friday night.
Something tells me he's not looking forward to meeting us.
We got another caller here. Who is this?
This is Lisa, a.k.a. Miss Destiny, in the chat room.
Oh, hi. Do you got a question for Tully Blanchard?
Yes, I do. Hello, Tully.
Hello.
My question is, I want to become a professional wrestler myself, and I was wondering if you can give me any advice on what it would take to get into the business.
Really don't have a clue anymore. And but if you want to be what you see on Monday Night TV, you better make sure that you get. Never mind, I won't even go there.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue.
Well, thanks for calling in. We also got a caller here from Portugal, and an LTNA fan.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello there, Mr. Blanchard. How are you doing?
I am doing great. You're calling from Portugal?
Portugal, Europe, yes.
Okay. Bon dia.
Near Spain, yeah.
All right, got a question?
I got two quick questions.
We don't need a geography lesson? Yep.
Sorry then.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Go on.
Yeah. Check. My question is, you've worked with Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk back in the day. What, in your opinion, is the best of the two brothers? In all aspects, who do you think is best?
They're completely different. So you really can't. It'd be comparing apples and oranges. They are tremendous ring tacticians. They understand psychology. They understand wrestling. They both had a lot to do with the finished product in my career because I looked up to both of them so much. Junior was a much more methodical guy in the ring. Terry was the wild man, and I think they probably did that so that they wouldn't look like two peas in a pod.
Right.
But both they were tremendous world champions. They drew a lot of money, and they're great performers.
Do you think Terry was better at like adapting to what like modern wrestling was, at the time? Because he had, I mean, they both still wrestle, but I think Terry had a kind of like a resurgence, kind of reinvented himself later on in his career.
Yeah, I think possibly. Junior was, you had to work to Junior more, and Terry was more like I was, or I was more like Terry, because I would work to whatever the strengths of the opponent was. Mm-hmm. And Junior, you had to work to Junior style.
Right.
So, I think that we said the same thing.
Right. Do you have anything else to tell TNA fans?
Just another quick question. You were back in WCW when there was the transition from the Crockett family to the Bischoff, I guess, era.
No, I was not.
I thought you were.
I left WCW about a month and a half before Turner bought it from the Crockett's.
I thought because you were on Slamboree in 1994, so
that was just like a one-time thing.
In '94, I was there. I wrestled Terry Funk in Philadelphia, but it was a one-match deal. So I don't really know much about the makeup of the company.
But from what you heard from other wrestlers, did you had an opinion about it, or just
Well, all I know is the last time I'd wrestled in Philadelphia was 1989 or 1988 in that building when Arn and I lost the World Championships to the Midnight Express, and there were 14,000 people there. And in 1994, when I wrestled Terry Funk and the pay-per-view, and there was about 6,000 people there. So, judge for yourself.
I see.
Thanks for calling in, man.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
We got another caller here. We got the Flea who's on the line.
Yes, you do. The Flea?
The Flea. You got a question, the Flea?
I do. I just want to say first, though, that I'm all excited about going to the Fan Fest, and I think the only person more excited than Jack Incher and I to watch Tully wrestle is Dustin Rhodes, who seemed real nervous last week.
Yeah, he mentioned he was nervous to get in the ring with Tully.
Yep.
I don't think he's as nervous as I am. I just cover it up better.
I was just going to say, Tully's a lot cooler about it.
Yeah, you hide it really well. No, I was just wondering, because you went to West Texas State, right?
Correct.
You're younger than most of the guys that got into wrestling, out of there, like Dusty and those guys. Were there any other players at that time that got into wrestling?
Well, Tito Santana played football with me.
Oh, wow.
He was our tight end. Ted DiBiase was at West Texas the same time I was.
Oh, man.
And Stan Hansen, Frank Goodish were more Terry's age, Dusty's age. Then you got Terry and Dory and...
Oh, so you guys were like the second generation from there then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
I always heard that... Oh, go on, Flea.
Oh, I just wanted to know if he still had any of the records there. I think he had, like, the touchdowns and interceptions record there.
I didn't have the touchdown record. What I had was the most offensive plays in a career.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started for 3 years, and I forget the number of plays that I had. I don't know that I had the most interceptions. I did have a few interceptions that I shouldn't have had, but we ran the wishbone, and I know that there were a couple of weeks that we led Division I in yards rushing. We had a couple of games where our offense had over 600 yards rushing, which was just huge.
Oh man!
And we had we had a decent team. We went, we were like 6-5, and I think my last year up there we were 5-4-2. Tied our last two games against Tulsa and New Mexico State.
Wow.
And I'm a little foggy on some of that stuff, but.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I always read that Dick Murdoch would tell people he went there, but he really didn't.
Well, he told a lot of people that he went there, and I never could find anybody that ever saw him or played with him. Other than that, I wouldn't dispute it. So.
Right. Do you have anything else, Lee?
No, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for calling in. We'll see you at the FanFest.
Great.
Well, everybody know, you go to NWALegends.com, you check out the how to get your tickets and everything. It's going to be at Charlotte, North Carolina, August 10th to the 12th, NWA Legends Fan Fest. Anything you want to tell everybody out there?
Well, I'll tell you one of the things that I'm looking forward to is not just the autograph thing. Pardon me, I'm chewing on a little candy bar thing.
Oh, that's okay.
That's how comfortable I feel with you guys. You make me feel so good.
Oh, man. Excellent.
But Sunday afternoon, the question and answer period with the wrestling fans.
Yeah.
I did one of those a couple of years ago. And the wrestling fans ask a lot of good questions. Every now and then you get one that's kind of retarded, but for the most part, they're good questions.
Well, we know about that.
And I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm going to be up there, I think, with Oli.
Yeah, Oli and JJ.
And JJ. And you find out a lot of stuff like that. I know JJ's very knowledgeable about the business, and Oli is too. Oli's just a little bit more. I've heard some conflicting reports on his health and attitude on stuff, and I hate to see that because Oli was such a moving, driving force in the wrestling business when he owned a big part of Georgia Championship Wrestling. So,
yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be hosted by Chris Cruz. I forgot to mention that's gonna be a Sunday night. We were wondering when we had Chris Cruz on here, like how long that's gonna go, because I think all three guys can really talk. You and JJ and Oli.
Yeah.
Or who's gonna talk over who?
Well, I can easily be quiet.
Oh,
just look pretty.
Excellent.
That's right.
That was a joke, guys.
Oh, man.
Y'all didn't react very much. It's kind of like a backdrop that nobody appreciates.
We were agreeing with you.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that what my role was.
Oh, we got one more caller here. Let's get to him. Who is this?
Pete.
Pete, you got a question for Tully?
Yeah, actually, I could turn it on. I'm not even sure if you guys even answered this question already. I was wondering why Barry Windham was actually on the cover of the DVD and not Oli.
Why Barry was on the DVD and not Oli?
Yes.
Oli wasn't really a member of the Four Horsemen for a very long time. He was one of the originals because of the fact that he and Arn were tag team partners at the time when we first got called Four Horsemen. But it wasn't too long after that, and watching the video where we turned and kicked Oli out, and he ended up getting fired for something. I don't even remember, some gaga thing, or he quit or something. And at least the report that I got was that he was fired. And then we grabbed on Luger, and that was, it was good for Luger, but it wasn't necessarily good for us. And then Barry came in, and the strongest group of Four Horsemen was the group that was on the cover of the DVD.
Do you think when Luger came in, it was more to set up Luger as a big baby face than to have him as part of the Horsemen.
It was more to give him some star status. You know, he was certainly, you know, he just started wrestling down in Florida and looked great. And the spot came open, and it was a very good spot for him to give him credibility of being in there with the rest of us. And then out of necessity, because of the role that we needed, our role as horsemen was to make people scream and holler. And it was easier to work with Lex and tell him what to do than to put him out there with other people doing what we did.
Right.
And Barry was much better in that spot.
Lex Luger's also going to be at the Fan Fest next week.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Pete?
No, that's about it. I mean, I'm actually going to be down at Fan Fest too. I'm also trying to become a professional wrestler. I'm actually wrestling with Johnny Rod in Brooklyn. I don't know if you haven't actually wrestled against him or met him back when you wrestled.
Well, great. We're looking forward to seeing you then.
Yep. I want to know if you ever wrestled Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods. If I did, I don't remember.
I think he's more of a Northeast guy, so it was probably weren't like in the same area at the time. But thanks for calling in. You said about Barry Windham. Do you think he's kind of an underrated wrestler? Because at the time, I think he's definitely one of the best wrestlers in the NWA.
Oh, Barry's one of the best performers of all time. I mean, the only time that I can remember Flair ever telling me I had a good match was against Barry. So.
Were you guys like that? Like you would tell Flair his matches weren't good, and he would tell you your matches weren't good?
Oh no, you wouldn't say anything. I mean, we didn't have bad matches.
Right.
I mean, a bad match for Flair would be to tear the house down for most people.
Right.
And I would like to say that, I mean, every now and then you have one that's maybe not as good, but my goal was to get my bad match level at a high enough rate that when I had a good match, it was off the chart. And only the fans would be able to judge if I did that or not.
Right. Well, let everybody know, check out NWALegends.com. Really loved having you back on the show. Look forward to seeing you at the Fan Fest. I know last year at the Q&A, it was they had the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette. That was a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to this year and seeing you and JJ and Ole.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too, guys.
All right.
Thank you for having me on.
This is J.J. Dillon, the leader of the original Four Horsemen, and this is InYourHeadOnline.com.